I want to talk for a few minutes about the P&L. The P&L is basically the profitability statement for your business or your practice. Generally, it is generated by an accountant. And this summer, I had a fair number of P&Ls come my way for a variety of students doing a variety of things that they wanted me to look at. And you know, I can look at a P&L and kind of give you some general comments. I don't pretend to be an accountant or an attorney, but I do know the warning signs and the red flags, and you know, I know where the problems are. But one of the things that impressed me the most was how bad the formats on some of these P&Ls were. Meaning, I couldn't make heads or tails of them because of the way they were formatted. And by I'll explain in a second what I mean by format. But it led me down a path to where I've created a template for what I want to see in a P&L. So if a student or young doctor contacts me, I send them my deal and say fill it out. Okay, so that I can look at it and in 2 minutes make sense of it. I think some people are using, you know, maybe QuickBooks, you know, out of the can. It's not formatted for dentistry. And you know, so the point that I want to make in this brief discussion here, I'm going to talk just a little bit about what a P&L is. It's a profit and loss statement. It's the lifeblood snapshot of your practice. This is how you get into trouble. This is any dentist that's in any kind of trouble doesn't know or understand his P&L. You can't get in trouble if you monitor this on a regular basis. And if you completely ignore this, like a lot of people do, this is how you get into really, really deep caca right here. Okay? So this is not complicated. This is not rocket science. Okay? There are not a lot of moving parts in dentistry. So let's look at some parameters. But by formatting, I want your accountant who does this to know that dental supplies are a category. It's not lumped in with office supplies. Okay? And a lab fee is a separate category. You don't lump it in with something else. That's what I mean by format. You need somebody that works with dental practices and knows how to format this. Okay? And so these are kind of some of the current average overhead now, 65 to 75%. Okay? Some practices more, some less. I want to briefly touch on two things here. Fixed versus variable overhead. This is not complicated, but you need to understand it. What is meant by a fixed cost is it does not change regardless of your income in the practice being up or down. Your rent stays the same regardless. Okay? You can take the month off. Your rent is still due. And your utilities and your insurance. Okay? But a variable cost changes with your production. If you have a hugely productive month, you're going to use more supplies, more lab, probably have more salaries with extra people. Okay, so you know, it makes sense. Fixed versus variable overhead. Okay, those are real basic concepts. You know, you just need to be comfortable with. You don't need an MBA to understand a P&L in dentistry. These are just okay. So your accountant should format your P&L to a dental practice. Your accountant needs to understand industry standards and needs to be proactive in making you aware when your numbers don't line up with industry parameters. Your accountant needs to say, hey, by the way, your rent is, your lab bill is, you know, we need to look at this and see if there's something that we can improve. I'm totally fine with someone doing that, okay? That's the kind of person that I want to talk about. So I have a template. I'll put it on the web page below this presentation you can download it and look at it. It's not perfect. You know, there's probably some things that can be improved upon, but the important thing is it's very, very straightforward, and it has all the categories and it has it grouped, and it's in English that I can understand, because I just see so many of these things that use terms that the accountants don't realize. You just graduated from school, okay? You know, you don't know what retained earnings are and some other really goofy ways of putting things. Okay, I need to know what's the doctor's salary. I do understand doctor's salary, and I do understand profit. I want plain English so that I can understand this and so that it's meaningful.